So I got an overall playtime of about 8 hours, maybe pushing it on to 9, not far off 9 or something. I'm not quite sure, but not far off 9 hours. That's not too bad, to be fair, guys. For a single-player first-person game, that's not too bad. Now, if it was just recycled junk, then I would agree and stuff like that. But it's like I say, you saw some at levels and stuff like that. I mean, there's a lot of time gone into levels. I suspect there's more time gone into the engine and the levels than what there is into the actual storyline. I mean, that would be my only gripe about F.E.A.R 2. Graphically, superb. Audio, superb. Enemy AI, it's always flawless in F.E.A.R, or as good as it gets anyway in first-person games. So yeah, there's weapons satisfying, very satisfying. That sniper rifle's fucking golden. I've saved. Oh, how much ammo did I save? Then I must have had like full rocket launcher, shit tons of sniper rifle, shit tons of assault rifle. I had that fucking pulse rifle and shit. Fucking hell. But yeah, I could have been way more fucking octane with my weapons. I didn't realise it was going to end then. I thought there might be. Where was my final boss fight? Keegan can't have been last boss fight. He only took like. I mean, I know there were like 20 super fucking Keegans around, but still, that wasn't really an ending boss fight. I don't think. I probably had that into my gripes as well. It's like it didn't feel like you had like a finale as such. Not really. Not especially. I mean, if it had been versus Alma or versus, I mean, I guess it's a bit hard to do a finale versus. I mean, you didn't really fight Alma as such at first, did you? So it's yeah. I guess I can let that one slide. But like I said, what was my only gripe? Oh yeah, my only gripe was the. I mean, the atmosphere of the game is sound. There's no gripes about that. But I guess there just wasn't quite enough. I mean, you get a lot. To be fair to the game, there was probably a hell of a lot of story in the PDAs, and at no doubt, at some point in the future, I'll go back and play F.E.A.R 2 again. Probably a good couple of years from now or something like that. But when I go back and play it again, I'll read all the PDAs this time. And I bet there's a lot of extra story in those PDAs, just background information, like on the replicas and the weapons and Alma Project and all the other shit like that. Project Origin, sorry. But there was probably a lot of story there, so I don't think it's quite fair to gripe at the story so much. But then again, saying that, they should have, I don't know. I mean, but saying that, what kind of story was there to convey? I mean, shit had gone down, the city had been nuked. I mean, there's fuck all left apart from like replicas and fucking ghosts and all that kind of shit, and Alma running around and your squad. So I mean, what kind of story was there to be had? You meant to be kind of like, well, not alone as such, but your squad starts off full and just gets whittled down just to you and fucking Stokes and Morales. Morales is still alive, isn't he? He'll be in his APC. So yeah, I mean, you could probably gripe about the story, you know, the way that it unfolds through the game, i.e. there's not an awful lot that does unfold, except for a few key moments, like when you go into the underground lab in the elementary school and is it Wade? No, not Wade, but the dude starts telling you, oh, you know, go there to the telespheric amplifier and use this and, you know, have a fucking psychic battle with armor and stuff like that. That's a bit of a key unlock and stuff like that, but I've got to say, the majority, the real beef of the story seemed to be towards the end of set 1 and a few bits in today's set. So just like a few key times where when the story kind of like unfolds, you know, a decent amount. So, but like I said, there's probably a lot of story contained in the PDAs, and you know, what kind of story are we expecting based on the scenario that you're in? It's like, for the scenario that you win, the amount of story and you know what actually happened was credible, and so I mean, it's like I say, you can gripe, but on the other hand, if you actually think about it, there is no gripe. But even, I mean, like that's. And the thing is that even if you said that was a gripe, I'm still clutching at straws to actually find faults. Now, I don't rate the multiplayer in F.E.A.R 2, I've got to be honest. Multiplayer is a bit there. In fact, I found multiplayer. Did I say this on? Was it the original Htsf of F.E.A.R 2 on the old PC, where you could emulate the F.E.A.R 2 multiplayer experience by opening MS Paint, filling the background with black, and then putting a white dot somewhere or something like that and trying to find it. You know, close your eyes and then try to find this little like microscopic white dot or something like that. That's basically the Fear 2 experience. It's just too dark and too black. I didn't find it particularly fun. It was a shame really, because I was kind of looking forward to Fear 2 multiplayer, but I didn't. I don't think it's up to very much, to be honest, unfortunately. So overall, Fear 2 as a package, lacking in multiplayer, but not lacking in multiplayer, but just not something that you're really gonna get into. I mean, you might have one or two games, and then it's just shelved. You just ain't gonna go back. I mean, you might do. You might be different to me, but I didn't find much fun in there. So that would certainly be a gripe. But to be fair, it's kind of like griping at Resident Evil for not having multiplayer. I mean, no Resident Evil 5 was multiplayer, but I'm talking about the older ones and such. I mean, you're not really playing it for the multiplayer. You're playing it for the single player, and that's all I'm playing Fear 2 for. The single player, not the multiplayer. And as a single player experience, very, very, very fucking good. Highly recommended. A little bit expensive, however, just for a single player experience. I mean, I spend a lot of time fucking around, so the overall time, if you weren't fucking around, could be 6 hours maybe, if you were blasting through it. Here's another thing as well. It took me between 8 and 9 hours, but that's fucking about, and that's on hard difficulty. Now, I'm no slacker, well I am, but I'm no, like, stranger, that's the word I was looking for, began with an S. I'm no stranger to first person games, so even on a hard difficulty, it's kind of normal. I mean, I know I died a few times, and I know I didn't exactly play phenomenal, but, like I say, fucking about for sake of video. And, if you were playing it on normal difficulty, and you were even just an average player, I suspect that you could probably rinse it in 6 hours. I'd say probably about 6 hours, about 50% less time than what I took then. So, yeah, I guess it would be. I mean, like I said, I heard complaints from people. I mean, multiplayer. I'm pretty much the only person that's ever mentioned and like talked about multiplayer to fucking other people. People I've talked to as well. I'm not saying I'm the only person that's ever talked about Fear 2 multiplayer. I'm saying like the people that I've talked to about Fear 2. I'm usually the only person that's ever mentioned multiplayer, and shit, I don't know where I was going with that. I have no idea where I was going about that. Fuck, lost the train, lost the track. What was I going to say though? Oh yes, sorry. Yeah, I'm usually the only person that talks about multiplayer, so it's definitely regarded on its single player aspect. And 30 quid for 6 hours. Now it's 6 great hours, but I've got to say, if I'd have played that on normal rather than hard, I would have just stormed the entire game, because even on hard, the lowest I ever went down to was like 1 medkit, and I wasn't exactly sweating it. Anytime I died was just by someone sneaking up on me, or just complete accident really, and that's on hard. So if you're a good player, and you played it through on normal, and you just shelled out 30 quid for it, I could imagine a somewhat bitter taste in your mouth. I really could, regardless of how good it is. So, but then again, like I say, it's a first-person game. First-person games aren't RPGs, they're not strategy games. Obviously, you can blast through them in no time. And they tried to offset it with a somewhat decent multiplayer, but it didn't really seem to work out in the end, unfortunately. It's a shame, really, because Fear, I mean, it's like I say, I'm not a big fan of Fear 2's multiplayer, but I did like Fear 1's multiplayer, and Fear 2 multiplayer is not a far cry away. It's a bit too fucking dark and shit, but other than that, it's not that much of a far cry away. It's alright. But I don't know how they're really ever going to sort out Fear multiplayer. It's certainly never going to make a big splash, I don't think. So I don't know what they're going to do about that with Fear 3. I mean, you see, you can always say, well, I mean, no, just fuck. I mean, I don't know if it is 6 hours on normal or not. It might still take you fucking 7 or 8. But let's just go on mine thing where I played on hard. It took 8 to 9 hours. Now you could say, Monolith, make it longer. Make it so it takes about 15 hours. So it's going to take you a few sittings on average to get through it at least. And in which case, multiplayer doesn't matter so much. But the problem is, I mean, you saw the calibre of some of the areas. It must have taken them so fucking long to model and to map those areas. And to do 15 hours, I'd highly suspect that a lot of areas would be repeated in a similar style to Fear 1, where the office just gets repeated and repeated and repeated, and the areas just get recycled upon recycled. And then the game gets made longer, but people complain that you're looking at the same shit all the fucking time.